name is Dipesh Patel, editor at Trade Finance Global. Today we're at the EBRD's Trade Facilitation Programme Conference. I'm delighted to be joined by Abla Hussein, Sector Head for Non-Bank FIs at the DFI's team for the Commercial International Bank of Egypt. Welcome to Trade Finance Talk.
Thank you very much for this great opportunity.
Start with talking about Egypt. Can you give me an overview of the dynamic trade and trade finance landscape in Egypt? What are the biggest opportunities?
Sure. Okay, so first let me begin by saying that Egypt is considered a trade hub given its strategic geographical location as a gateway between Asia and Africa. Also given the fact that Egypt is a signatory to a lot of multilateral trade finance agreements like the European Union Free Trade Agreement, the COMESA. So actually all of these facts make Egypt a very lucrative market for trade finance. I would also like to highlight the fact that Egypt is a net importer, and we actually have a very high volume of trade in Egypt. It's around over 100 billion between imports and exports. All this makes Egypt a growing market for trade finance. We also perceive Africa as a golden opportunity for trade, and I would like to mention here that actually CIB, being the largest private bank in Egypt, has just seized an opportunity in Africa by acquiring. We have recently fully acquired a Kenyan bank. It's a Kenyan bank called Mayfair. Now it's called CIB Kenya. So it's actually this gives CIB the opportunity to expand its trade finance market in Africa, obviously among other business opportunities in Africa and Kenya. So this one thing that I would like to highlight as well. I would also like to add that recently that the European companies, European market via the European companies are very active in Egypt, given the current mega projects such as the Siemens Railway project and the Metro project. So all of these mega infrastructure projects are very, we see the involvement of the European companies in these projects. So I think we have a very dynamic trade finance market in Egypt.
Thank you very much. So to summarize, huge infrastructure development, gateway into Africa, and making strategic investments to grow there. Egypt as a whole, net importer, 100 billion worth of trade volumes. I guess access to correspondent banking services is still an issue. How is EBRD helping facilitate trade into Egypt?
So I would like to actually specifically talk about CIB here, because even though there might be challenges for access to correspondent banks, however, we as CIB, again being the largest private bank in Egypt, we do have a wide range of access to correspondent banks. However, given the recent macroeconomic conditions, we might have seen some challenges with our correspondent banks, not in terms of access, but actually in terms of reaching our ceilings in terms of tenors and amounts, which came the role of EBRD, which we perceive as a great value, given, and as was just mentioned during the panels, that the TFP agreement was actually created during times of crises, and this is how they help. So we've actually been recently using, and I'm sure you've also saw on the list of the ranking, the top ranking banks, we've been using the issuing bank agreement with EBRD quite frequently for the past 6 months. Because, as I mentioned, we've sometimes reached the limits in tenors and amounts. So this gives us more opportunities to to create more business with our corporate clients in order to be able to increase amounts or tenors, and also to be able to offer better pricing for our corporate clients, which is also a crucial and a very important point to give us competitiveness over other commercial banks.
Abla, thank you very much for joining us on Trade Finance TV. That was an overview of the Egyptian trade and trade finance landscape, and also a good discussion about CIB's development in Egypt and beyond. Thank you.